Okay, Lloyd Dussault Sr. checking in. I've just received a Oscar Schmidt guitar that has a serious problem. A friend of mine brought it over for me, and he was stringing it up for somebody, and he started stringing it, and then he noticed the bridge was starting to come up. Well, that's quite obvious, so I'm going to kind of give you an idea. So the bridge is coming up. You can get right under it. But that's not the worst problem. The worst problem is, if you look at this, and if I can get it the right angle to the dangle here, you'll see that this is really warped, and most of the warp appears to be right in this area. Now, since when we first removed the strings to this thing, we really had a humongous bulge in it. It seems to have gone down a little bit. I'm going to have to work on it. My first project is going to be to remove the bridge, because that's going to have to be re-glued. But the big problem is the bridge is no problem re-gluing a bridge. I've done plenty of those. Big problem is we have the X brace on this side, on the bass side, that's completely sprung. It's just kind of hanging right down there, so that's going to have to be replaced. And that's the main reason why you have the big lump in here, and that lump is pretty much caused by that brace letting go. I believe this guitar was put up in a closet or in a case for 10 or 15 years, I guess, and just sat there. And it probably just from being sitting there with the string tension on it, it just slowly worked over the guitar. This is not a extremely expensive guitar. What little I've looked up on this model here, there was maybe a couple $100 or so, and I can understand that after looking around on the inside of it, the way it's put together. But anyways, I'm going to set the camera on the tripod so you don't get dizzy watching me move the camera around, and I'm going to try to start to remove that bridge and see where we can go from there. So check it out for a moment. Alright, I'm back, I think. Hope it's not, volume's not too loud. I got the heat gun here. So what I'm going to do is warm up my trowel here. A little putty knife. And then I'm going to see if a little heat will take that off without too much trouble. Or maybe a lot of heat. A little bit at a time. I'm trying not to force it when I have to here. It's starting to creak and groan. I must be getting somewhere. Just back here before it sneaks away on us. Yeah, we're moving along slightly, slowly. I'm Try not to mess up the wood when it splits it. That don't feel good. Huh. Well, Houston, we do have a problem. It would appear that the top may very well be busted. It's going to be a real treat to try to do something with. Just what my putty knife just went down in there and well, let's see. Yeah, it's definitely cracked all the way. Yep, try to come in from the other side. That off for a second. I know that's going to end up on the floor. Oh, this is not pretty, friends. This is not pretty, folks. Yeah. This is not going to be pretty. I can see it all now. Definitely some serious damage. Trying to ease this off best I can here. Oh, yep. Let's see here. This is all broken out. I'm going to have to try to glue the heck out of this and put a whole bunch of pressure on it to bring the top down as much as I can, but this is whoop, we're out of the camera there. Try again, Lloyd. There we go. Yeah, there we are. All right, yeah, that's a mess. It just lifted up. And I didn't cause that. That was because that was lifting up and pulling the veneer. This is a plywood top with a veneer on it, so that's what's happened. So I'm going to shut off the camera and try to come up with a plan to try to save this thing a little bit. So Lloyd Usalcini, you're going to check out for a bit. Well, I'm back. And I spared everybody the aggravation of all the groundwork you got to do when you're trying to come up with a repair on one of these contraptions. What I plan to do is I'm going to add this brace piece, bridge plate underneath here to strengthen the bridge plate, because the bridge plate in there is like paper thin. So this is going to be in here like this. I'm going to set it up. It's going to go inside like so. I'm going to put my lockdown brace across the top, and I'm going to pull it down tight and see what I got as a fit up, see if that's going to work, and then I'll take it down and glue it up. So I am going to turn off the machine right now because it's a little bit of cussing and everything while I get this in there, but I'll get back on once I get it put in there in temporary position. Alright, I have the thing set up a little bit here. I have the plate in place. Oh, if we don't tip the camera over, we'll be alright here, won't we? Yeah, let's try that again. Anyways, I've got the plate is in place underneath. You can't see my hand, and everything seems to be good. I'm going to try to get another mirror in there and get a better look at it if I can. And I still have a brace to glue, but I'll get that probably after, I think. Once I get the top down where I want it. So I'm going to take a break here and let that top settle in a little bit before I disassemble and decide to glue it up. So while I do so, senior checking out. So far so good. Can only hope for the best. Alright, Lord Dussault Senior checking in this morning. Well, big problems take drastic action, so I've tried something else on this. By the way, this is going to be the backup plate I'm going to install in there to try to hold this old girl together on the top, on the bridge. And I put the clamp on it yesterday. I don't remember if I was videoing it at the time, but anyways, before I ran off yesterday, I reclamped this critter. But boy, these clamps are getting heavy. Okay, and I've got it bruised up, so trying to get some of this warp out of here, and that is no easy chore. No easy chore. I don't think I'm going to be able to get it all, but I wanted to take it easy there, critter. I wanted to get as much of it as I could, and diddling around inside, looking inside with the mirror, I found there's another brace that's actually cracked. So this is going to be a real treat to try to get everything put back together, but we'll give it a shot. No guarantees. So I'm going to get back going on this guy here, trying to decide what I want to do next. And I'm thinking I'm probably going to install the plate, which goes this way, and that should hopefully take a little bit of this warp out. I'm hoping if I can get back far enough to get that down, but that's going to be a real problem, I'm afraid. So that's where I am, and I will turn off the recording right now. I'm going to do a little work on here, and I'll bring you back and once something exciting happens. I definitely got a setup here that Rube Goldberg would be mighty proud of, but it's a start. I'm going to take this all apart, at least that I got it together once. Hopefully I can almost remember how to go about it when I have to glue it, and gluing it is the worst part because then you're trying to work around the glue, and you got screws that you want to make sure that they can come out after the glue dries. But anyways, I'm going to start disassembling this. These are to tighten the wings down. Oh, that's all that does. These are bolted through, and there's the plate underneath, and that they're up against, and there are washers underneath the nuts, so it gets good pressure to push up to bring everything together. Oh, and this here is to hopefully bring the middle under control. I got some pressure on it, believe me. This is just barely makes it in and out of there. It's the only clamp I got that'll do that. On most guitars, anyway. I've got a little foot that I put onto it to get around the bracing inside. Okay. Let's see if we can unscrew this critter. Alright. Believe me, it's easier now. I'll probably put a little bit of beeswax on the screws when I put it together, so that hopefully I can get it apart when the glue dries. Alright. Yeah. This is a simple contraption. If you buy an item like that online, it'll be just a little bit of a chunk out of your wallet for sure. But anywho, that's where I'm at. Let me see what we got here. Oop. Something else laying around there I don't want to leave in there. Oh, get back. Alright. Alright, there's the plate that's got to go in. I'm going to put some pins in this so I can tape around this. And I actually have to get some glue. And that still is not pretty. Lord knows I wish there was some way I could get it flatter, but I don't think that's going to happen. Oh, I may just glue these tabs down first. Glue everywhere if I don't. Oh, how sweet it is. Oh dear, 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 dear. Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. Oh. Well, I'm going to turn off the camera for a minute. I got to do some fiddling around here. Okay. I'm trying the magnets out here to hold these little flaps down while the glue sets. I'm just trying one at a time here to see what's going to happen. And I'll move it along. Once the glue kicks over, I can move it. It's just to see if that's going to work out. I know I can see a lot of luthiers do use magnets now. It really helps in a lot of places to hold things in place that you can't get your hands on or get a clamp on. But anyways, that's where we're at. Turn the camera off again. We'll see what happens in a little bit. Okay, looks like we're going to see how the miracle of magnets work. We've got two on the top, two on the bottom. Hopefully that's going to hold the glue down in place and it's not going to glue the magnets in there. But I'm going to go on break while that's setting up. I got a little bit more to do on this end. Put the bridge back down, mask around it, and get to the tough part. I do so. I'll see you. Check it out. Well, we're going to check back in for a couple minutes here. If I can get the magnets off. Oh, oh, wow! Guess what happened? Going to be another one going to drop in a minute. All right. Let me see here. That was cute. Oh dear. See what I can do for my next set. I gotta check this out. I'm not happy with this right here. We got a little bit more work to do. I tried to get the glue in there, but oh well. We'll get it. So we'll check out. I'm gonna work some glue under there and try one more time. Okay, well, we're back for a minute or two. Had to fiddle and diddle with it, but I think we got it down. And let this set up again a little bit, and I have a little bit more on the end maybe to check out. And I'll clean up the bottom of the bridge a little bit. And we might be ready to almost start the gluing process to put the bridge back on. It's a little bit skunky on the back side here. And you can see the glue that they used. It's not all over the place, so we'll clean her up and see what happens. Well, I'm back. I've got this all outlined. I've decided to make a man decision. That layer on this surface is all peeled up and it's not going to want to stick down. It is so thin, so I am going to remove it. And where I am putting a heavier backup plate, I don't think it's going to lose any strength. Not that there's much strength in this guitar to start with. But anyways, that's where I'm at. I'm going to, don't stay on, but I'm going to try to trim all this down and go from there. Check it out for a minute. Alright, I'm just about finished peeling off the veneer. This is not normally how you repair a guitar with a lifted bridge, but this is a real beauty. I'm hoping I can get the inside put back together too. But we'll see. So far so good. If I can get the end here without destroying it, I consider myself lucky. As you can see, I'm scoring it, hopefully to stop the veneer from going any further with its breakout, but we'll see. This critter is definitely a challenge. Oh, the last little bit here. Almost. This still got a hell of a bump in it, but we'll see. It'll either be a player or a wall hanger. Won't know till the end. Oh dear. Let's just see how the... I know it's not going to fit flat. Well, I think it's going to be a heck of a lot better. I removed all the gunk from the backside. It's almost like they used some type of an epoxy to glue this thing down. It was brutal taking the stuff off. But we got it. So I'll sand this down a little bit and get ready to do some gluing, I think. I'm not sure exactly how I want to tackle it yet, but we'll see. Check it out. Well, I got all the cussing done. I got it all in place and clamped down. Hopefully it's going to do the job. The one clamp on the tail end. Pull this down flat as I could. 2 bolts here to pull the plate up. They got washers on the back side. I've waxed the screw, so good Lord willing, they won't give me too much of a battle to take them out of there. So now it's time for me to knock off and let this critter rest overnight and see if it gets glued up. Lloyd Dussault Sr. checking out. Well, it's been 24 hours. In excess of 24 hours, actually. And time to see if I can get this thing apart so I can put the bridge back on. And I also got through the X brace that's busted up and another brace that's cracked coming apart. So I'm going to start taking this apart and we'll see what happens here. It's a close call in there. Come on. There we go. Well, that didn't stick. That's a good thing. And here comes the fun part. Hoping I can get this off. Well, that's promising. Let's see if we get lucky on the other side here. So far, so good, I guess. Like a screw that's a mile long. Better too long than too short, I guess. Okay. Oh, the nut came off. That's a good sign. That wax did the trick. So far. A bit of beeswax goes a long way. That beeswax is from a toilet ring. Not a used one, brandy new one. I use occasionally, like for stuff that sticks. Oh, look at that, it didn't stick. Amazing. Okay, you get a little bit of glue to clean up here. I'm going to see if I can fit that bridge on there somehow. And go from there. So I'm going to turn the camera off. I think I'm going to leave the clamps on for a little bit. And think about this just a mite. Lloyd Dussault Sr. checking out. Okay, I'm back for a little bit here. Taking off the big clamps. I'm setting the guitars sitting right on the table. I have a piece of plastic underneath it to help protect the back a little bit. Well, this is where we're at with the top, with the bridge. It actually, I'm pretty much amazed that it's setting as flat as it is right now. Like I said, I did clean this off. This has all been cleaned up to get down to the wood underneath, because, like I said, the laminate was breaking away and it wouldn't. I tried to glue it down, and evidently the whatever adhesive they used to bond this does not. The glue doesn't want to stick to it, evidently. So I'm sure the luthiers out there will go crazy when they see what I've done, but on this guitar and the condition it's in, we do the best we can and hope we can get something at the end. So I still have bracing inside that has got to be glued back down, but I'd like to get this back on here now. So I am going to set it up again. I'll turn the camera off so you don't have to watch all this. But we're going to put it down and I'll bring it back on once it's clamped down. It's the same thing. I'm going to go in and bolt it down this way, then tighten the ears down on the ends, and hopefully when it dries, it'll be nice and tight on there and stay there. So Lloyd Dussault Sr. checking out for a little bit while I get this thing set up and glued down. Okay, well, we've got it all clamped down, cleaned as best I could to get all the glue around the outer edges. Good Lord willing, tomorrow sometime, when I take it apart, it'll stay down nicely, but the worst part's just to come. I got to work blind inside and get the braces repaired. So I think this is probably the easiest part of the job, as much as it looks difficult compared to what's coming up. Lloyd Dussault Sr. checking out. Okay. Well, I'm back. Time to disassemble this contraption and see what we got. It's been about, almost 3 days. I've been off of doing other things. But the longer it sets, the better it gets. How's that sound? We'll take the bracing off here for now. And hopefully the screws won't fight me too much. I got the washer off. I don't know if it came in my hand or not. Yep. All right. Well, that's not a bad start. Let's see how we do on this guy here. All right. Yeah, we're moving right along. Well, I think this is going to be the easiest part right here, is putting this bridge on, and it was no walk in the park. But it appears to be down at the moment, and hopefully it'll stay there. This little doodad isn't fancy, but it's a lot cheaper than one you'd buy online. And it does the trick. It's probably not as sophisticated, but and again, I'm not that sophisticated either. Let's see if I can get my washer off. Oh, look at there. Even the washer came off. So we've got all that out of there. And I've got to start to figure out what I'm going to do, trying to stick them braces down. I have an idea what I want to do. So I'm going to clamp the top back down, so when I do try to get the braces installed. The top will be down when it's glued. I also have a block. I'll show how that block goes inside with a wedge to push the brace back up. Oh, I can only hope. So that's where I am at the moment. I'm going to turn the camera off here. I'm going to do a little finagling inside, maybe clamp the board across the top. No need of wasting film time on that. So I'm going to get set up. Well, I'm back. I've been messing around here and trying to figure out where we were going with this project. It's a real treat. Oh. So I have the X brace glued right where it crosses. It's broken just right here, just past the X. It's split. It's not completely snapped, it's split. So I did my best to get in there with a lot of glue on my fingers to push it into the crack from both sides. And I have it clamped now. And I'll show you the clamp when I take it out. Hopefully, I don't know how much you can see of this. I'm going to take a look at the camera and see if it's visible there. Yeah, okay. What I made here is a Rube Goldberg, and Rube Goldberg would proud of me here. Hopefully I'm going to be able to jack that brace up. And what I did is I made myself a little jack stand here. Drilled a hole in the center, and I got a bolt right here with a nut on it. And I put a pin in here so that when I put this together like this and drop it in, and I tighten down on this bolt, let's see if I can see it. It acts as a jack and it jacks it up. And this prevents it from turning when I'm tightening it, so it stays tight against the block. At least that's my story. I'm sticking to it right now. I can't do the side brace right now because I got that little cross brace done, but hopefully that might be the answer to my prayers here. I've tried it out. It seems to be working. Between bringing this clamp up inside and bringing the top down a little bit against it, I should get a pretty good glue joint. I'll leave this loose, bring the jack up just about up against the body on the inside, the cross piece, the X brace up, and then when I get it touching, I'll bring the top down to it a little bit, get some down pressure on it. It's going to be a son of a gun of a messy job to get in there to get glue on that brace. It's really about impossible to sand down what I like to do in there. I'll try to get in there a little bit with some paper, but it's going to be a real treat. So I am going to be knocking off and let that glue dry. I'm not sure if I'll get back to that today. I'm going to make sure that has plenty of time to dry up properly. So Lloyd Dussault Sr. Check it out on the Oscar Schmidt guitar. And we're getting there so far. The top bridge hasn't popped off yet, so I guess that's a good thing. Check it out. All right, I'm not sure I was taping there a minute ago, so I'm going to run this through again just in case. I've clamped broke the crack brace on this side. It's just aft of where the X is on it. So it would be right about in here and about that long. You can see it. And I'll show you how I worked on that clamp to make it so I could clamp it from the bottom. I worked on that a little bit on the bottom end to make a wide piece so it would hit the bridge, hit the piece of wood and force it together. And I made myself a little jack here, just a bolt with a nut on it on the bolt, and a pin here and a hole here. And if you get the idea what it does, once you put it together, you can run the bolt up and down, and the pin stops it from rotating, so it'll stay steady and jack it up, and then you can bring it back down. And that's my plan for underneath. And like I said, between raising that clamp up against the brace and making sure the top is flat down against it, I think we'll have it. But like I said, right now I've got this brace glued back together, and hopefully it's going to bond nicely. We'll know in a little while. So I do seeing you checking out again. Well, I'm finally back. We're back finally. One way or the other, I'm here. Okay, so I glued up the crack brace. It's been well over 24 hours, so we're going to see if we can't take this clamp off here and hopefully the brace stay glued together. Oh dear. Move that out of the way for a moment. And take that out of there. Well, put enough pressure on it to break that, so I guess I must have had it tightened down pretty good. All right. See if I get some trusty light in there. Not that I'm going to see too much, I'm afraid. Let's see how it looks here. If I can see the... It appears to be glued together. I'm going to reach up in there just for the heck of it and see if I can feel it. All right. Oh, this is going to be a real treat. I have got to get this whole brace back up here and glued. I think I'm going to take some pressure off of this right now. This is all sort of almost like guesswork here. Hopefully my clamps won't fall off on me when I'm fiddling around. I'll try to sneak my hand up in there as far as I can get and then get glue all over. And yep, okay, well I'm going to turn the camera off for a little bit. I'm going to see if I can get in there with a piece of sandpaper and rough it up a tiny bit. It's going to be next to impossible, but I'm going to give it a shot. So I'll turn the camera off so you don't have to hear me cussing trying to get in there to fix it. Well, I'm back. Oh, this is going to be just wonderful, I can tell. I believe I explained my little clamp right here that has to go in and back underneath, and it'll go underneath the brace. And I guess you can see it. I'll just show it again here. It's set up so that when I crank down on this, it raises this up and it's going to push that brace up against the top. At least that's my story and I'm sticking to it. So I have to put that in first. It's going to go, I don't know, I'll see where the camera's looking at here in a minute. Moment. Okay. It's going to go somewhere back in here. Whoop, almost there. Yep. Let's see if I can move the camera and get a little shot. Right. Somewhere right about in here, because that's where the X brace goes. So I'm going to crank this end up. And then get the camera rearranged here. Get a reflection on my little screen, so it's hard to tell where I'm at. All right. I'm going to position the other clamp wherever I set it down here. All right. It's been a long, oh, there he goes. It's been a long day. All right, that other clamp, I've lined it up, so I'm not going to put it in here. But anyways, when it's done, it's going to be in alignment with here. That's why I put this block here. And I get a little dot where the piece is going to go. And I glued this long piece, so it's kind of at the same angle as the brace. So when I tighten it up, I'm going to have more surface area pushing up. And then, like I said, I have this other one here that's going to go at the back end of the brace. So I'm going to turn the camera off and see if I can get my goodies in position. I'm going to set this in first, then I'm going to have to get some glue on there, tighten it up, tighten that one up, the other clamp up. Well, anyways, we'll check out while I'm doing all that. Oh, and I have to put all the glue on too, which is not much fun. I'm going to put it on my fingers and hopefully get around, follow it. I hope you can see that in the camera. So that the glue gets on top of the brace and up underneath on top of the guitar, or the inside of the guitar, hopefully. Anyway, that's my plan. We'll see how much I can stick to it. Check it out. Yep, I'm back for a couple minutes. Oh. Well, I managed to get the jack clamp in. I should say first, I managed to get enough glue in there, wood glue in there. I got my fingers crossed that it's going to hold. I really pushed it up in there, tried to squeeze it up between the brace and the top, from both sides of the brace, kind of running my fingers in there. Worked it all in, squished it back and forth and around and up and down. And pull the back, tighten the back clamp up, push that up against the brace as far as I could get it where I still could see with the mirror that it was up against the base, up against the top. And brought it up a little teeny bit more than that. Then I put the other clamp on here. So we have a clamp roughly here, I hope the camera can see it, and here. And it's been glued. I also clamped the top down so that even though I got up pressure on the brace, now I have a little bit of down pressure on the top, which should help compress the both of them together. Good Lord willing, come tomorrow when I take all the clamps off, it's going to be holding together, and we'll see if we can't get it back together. And see if it's going to be a player. I got my fingers crossed. Lloyd Dussault Sr. checking out. Good morning. Lloyd Dussault Sr. checking in. I'm going to polish these frets a little bit here. I have not unclamped the guitar yet. Everything's still tight. It's been, well over a day and a half, so if the glue's going to work, a day and a half's going to do it. All right. I use Post-it strips so that I can polish the frets and not mess up the fretboard. And I'm not doing a fancy job, but 2 or 3 different types of sandpaper down to 1,000 grit or anything like that. I've got some very fine steel wool, and all I'm going to do is just clean off the tarnish off these so they look nice and shiny. And they don't appear to have ever been overworked, so I'm not worried about it. I don't know how much it'll show the difference when I'm done, but that's okay. And I will oil the neck, clean it up a little bit. And hopefully when I take the clamps off and put the strings on and tighten things up, it's going to stay together and not blow up. That's my hope anyway. So this is what I'm doing here. This is how I do it. I don't know what luthiers think of what I do, but that's fine. At the price I charge, nobody complains. Or if they do, they won't be back. Okay. And they do look a little bit different after you polish them up. The frets are worn a little bit, but probably not excessive. I've seen them really dug into. Not to mention the neck itself, fretboard chewed up from long fingernails. Okay, well, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to turn off the camera, not spend a lot of time here having you watch me run some steel wool over the frets. So I will check out for the moment, and we'll be back. Well, I'm back. I have polished the frets. I'm going to take a little bit of Reinstallation lighter fluid, and I'm going to clean the fretboard off. So, almost time for some more lighter fluid, I'm afraid. It does a great job of taking junk off without destroying it. It's about the safest thing you can use that I've found so far. Pretty well cleaned up. You just picked up some dirt. Don't show too much, but it's a nasties off. Okay, well, we got that done. That didn't take too long. Now we're going to put the linseed oil to it. A little bit more, I'm afraid. That's really dry. Continue on here. Get it wet real well here. Let it soak in. It really is dry, the way it's pulling the oil right in. Well, we'll give it a good treatment. I may do the top too, but I'm not going to do it right now. Wait till I get done and think about it a little bit as the finishing touches. That is really getting drawn in. Also, you do not leave any material around that has been saturated with linseed oil. It has a tendency, in the right conditions, to self-combust when it starts to break down, evidently. And there have been fires in shops where they left some rags with linseed oil on them, and they kind of just sat there and moldered and smoldered and eventually lit off. So I'm fairly careful with the stuff. I don't leave it around. The old used rags, getting rid of them. Hardly going to have to buff this one out. It's taking the oil in so nicely here. It's mighty thirsty. All righty. I'm going to call that oiled. Oh, golly, where do I want to go from here? Well, let me readjust the camera a little bit. I'll turn this off for a sec. Yeah, I guess you can see most of the action here. I'm going to be unclamping this critter and listening for terrible sounds and that I hope I don't hear. So I'm going to take the big, gigantic, oh golly, the big giant clamps off first. It's big and giant, so being a little redundant. Yeah. Okay. I didn't hear any bad noises yet, which is a good sign. Okay, continue on here. I'll take that off. Still no bad noises. Okay. So as I said, we got a brace going across that angle, which is the base, the one on the base side. And I didn't hear anything come unglued, so I'll sneak around here. And I know it comes out. That's my fancy schmancy clamp that I made to do the brace. I've changed these around, a little bit of super glue and a little bit of wood here and there, and you got what you want eventually. Now, take that super duper homemade clamp of mine that I made. Oh golly, let's see. Okay. Once again, I'll bring this out here so you can see what it is. It's just a bolt. I drilled a hole in here so it fits, drops right in. Got a nut on here. This is glued solid to the threaded rod. And a pin here, and the pin is to keep this item from turning when you're trying to jack this up, because if you're turning this screw like this, well, if there's no pin to guide that, it's just going to keep spinning around. All right, so that's my contribution to you amateur luthier guitar fixers out there. If you have a busted brace, I'm going to reach in here and see if everything seems to be attached. Well, by golly, it does seem to be attached. So that's a good sign. I'm going to take a peek in there with my mirror and my trusty flashlight and see what I can see. I can't show it to you, but I will try to honestly describe what I see. Let me turn my mirror just a little bit. The brace is secured. Okay, I might want to take my little wrench out of there. I don't think we want to send that down the road with the guitar. All right, looks glued up good. And it's hard telling, right where the X brace goes across. We'll call that put back together as best you can for I believe this was not an overly expensive guitar when it was purchased, but judging by the way it's hung together. Okay. I think I will give the top a wipe down here before I do anything. What I'm going to do is I've got to check the holes. A lot of times when you do work underneath, you'll get glue in the holes for the pins. So I'm going to turn off the camera here and do a little cleanup work and get back.